And we're live. Welcome to episode 15 of The Cloud Whisperers. This is our live stream right now. And episode 15 is called There Ain't No Such Thing as a Free Brian, because unfortunately Brian is not free today. Welcome everybody to episode 15 of The Cloud Whisperers. This is David Broussard, and I am here to entertain you by myself today with The Cloud Whisperers. Hopefully next time we get together, Brian will actually be able to go ahead and attend as well. And hopefully also you are going ahead and hearing our audio this time, unlike the last time when you could not hear audio. Since there's nobody in the live stream at this point in time, that's fine. I'll be keeping an eye on that in case anybody comes along and is having any issues. Sorry, we're having trouble playing this video according to Facebook right now. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my live stream and see if this is actually starting to work. So hopefully we're up there working right now. This should be great. I'm looking forward to it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to turn captions on, which is awesome as well. So now I know you're actually hearing me, because when I have captions on, I can see that there's actually words that are going across. Alrighty. So just for fun, I'm going to play our opening theme one more time. And as is also seems to be a problem, every time I pop out of this, my webcam stops working. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that to restart working. So I pop it down to the front camera and I pop it back to the full camera. And once I pop it back to the full camera, it looks like it goes ahead and starts working again. Yay! Welcome everybody. Now you're going to actually see me as well, and maybe even saw me go ahead and do my little dance. All right. So while we're here, this is what's happening actually is I'm having weird issues with the USBs on my laptop right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change this to the webcam that's on the front of my machine. Oh, my goodness, this is giving me, yep, see, it keeps losing connectivity with my webcam, and that's what's driving me crazy right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just resize this webcam and drop it up here. Oh, whoops. All right, see, I got to do all this stuff on the fly, which is never what I want to be doing. Okay, there we go. There I am. All right. So I'll go ahead and push this out of the way so it's not so bad. Well, welcome everybody to this episode of the Cloud Whisperers. I appreciate you guys showing up. As I said, I'll be going ahead and recording our podcast today, going through and doing all of that, and then giving it out to you guys later on through our normal channels, which is, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, and of course, we're always on SoundCloud. So if you look at the scroller across the bottom, you should see plenty of places to go ahead and sign up with us and the like. So normally, when we start a new podcast, we always start off with, what have we been up to lately? And so today is no different. We'll start off with, what have I been up to lately? And I'll tell you what I've been up to lately. I gave a presentation yesterday at the Microsoft 365 Virtual Marathon, and it was epic. It was so much fun. Because of COVID-19, they had to shut down the SharePoint Conference North America, which was going to normally be out in Vegas. And so instead of it being out in Vegas, some of the guys got together and they said, hey, what if instead we use Microsoft Live meetings through Microsoft Teams to go ahead and deploy this out everywhere? And with some help from Microsoft and with some help from a lot of the guys in the community and some great sponsors, we were able to actually go out and put on a conference even though nobody was actually there. So unfortunately, that wasn't all that great, but that we didn't have the conference. But it was amazing because while I probably would not have been able to get out to Vegas and was not able to present at that conference, I was selected to give a presentation that was an introduction to Power Virtual Agents. And Power Virtual Agents are this really cool thing that's going on. And you know, I'm noticing right now, and what I'm going to fix here is, and I'm going to mute that, because what's happening is that every time, hang on, I see what my problem is. There we go. What's happening is that the USB driver on my laptop is screwed up somewhere. And what it's doing is every time it's constantly disconnecting and reconnecting. I think it's the camera that I have plugged in. And as a result of that, what's happening is, before I had to switch my camera from my one camera up here to my camera down here. The other problem is that it's sitting there going boop 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 boop, which is really annoying. And I've gone ahead and turned that off. So you shouldn't be hearing that anymore, hopefully. Unfortunately, I'm hearing it constantly, which is driving me up the wall. But not much I can do about that. Okay, so that's what I've been up to lately. I have been out actually doing this Power Virtual Agents demo, which is a really cool thing. And so what I'm going to do today in our live cast is I'm actually going to go out, and I'm not going to do the full demonstration of what I did yesterday. I'm not going to do the PowerPoint slides. I'm not going to go through why bots are cool and stuff like that. I'm going to laser focus in on a couple of things that I did and demonstrate the bot that I built in Power Virtual Agents that I demoed yesterday for the M365 Virtual Marathon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to another screen. And so, oh, see, here we go. Here's my other problem. My video down here is not the right one. And so I'm going to resize it down. Because you see, unfortunately, when I changed cameras, it changes the video, everything. And so I'm really kind of messed up. But nonetheless, here I am, and you are actually seeing a bot that I built in the Microsoft Power Platform, Power Virtual Agents, which is you can get a free trial of in your tenant. I think it's 60 days, might be 90 days that you can do a free trial. But here it is right now. And so I'm going to actually show you that this is the virtual bot tender. And if you're thirsty, you can order a drink. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to this point, and I'm going to say, I am really thirsty. And I'm going to send that into the bot. Now, what the bot's going to do is it's going to respond to that and say, hello, I am the bartender bot. I can serve you a drink, but only if you're over 21. How old are you? Well, I am 51. So I'm going to say I'm 51. And it says, before you may enter the virtual bar, you must answer me these questions 3. What is your name? I am Sir David. What is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Ah, and we know this if we've ever watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. What is the proper response here? Would that be an African or, oops, help if I spell it right, African? Oh, I wonder, or a European swallow. Now, at this point in time, evidently I made a mistake, right? As you virtually hurtle through the air, you scream, "Aye!" because I didn't answer that properly. So I wasn't able to help better. Would you like talking to a human agent or try rephrasing? And I'll actually say rephrase. So I actually got a bad part, and I'm going to say, I am thirsty. Again, see, this is what happens when I actually didn't have a chance to completely test this out. How old am I? Well, I'm going to say I'm 19 right now because I'm kind of young. I'm sorry you're not 21 years old. So, you can only have non-alcoholic drinks. What would you like to drink? Soda, water, or juice? You know, I'm kind of feeling like a soda right now. So I'm going to say a soda. What kind of soda do I want? Well, you know, I am watching my girlish figure, so I'm going to drink a Diet Cola. And you can watch my virtual figure with this virtual Diet Cola. And now it's going to say, hey, great, I succeeded at this. Can you please rate your experience? And I'm going to say, that experience was excellent. So this is an example of a virtual bot. And I built all of this without writing any code whatsoever. So let me show you what that looks like behind the scenes. going to go over here into the virtual bot interface, and this is part of the Power platform. And you're going to see that I've actually built one bot. This bot is called M365 VM, and I can actually build more bots if I want to over here and create additional bots if I want to, but I only need my one. I'll start with the virtual bot tender, okay? So the virtual bot tender, the way this is designed to work is it has a series of trigger phases that I put in place. The trigger phrases are designed to be things that it is listening for, and when it hears one of these trigger phases, it will actually go ahead and launch off into the whatever responses the bots have actually got. So I'm going to wait because, hey, this is Office 365, and we can never have anything go quickly in Office 365, can we? Yeah. Well, it might be connectivity because I'm live streaming at the same time. So if you'll notice, I have a series of trigger phases down here, like thirsty, drink, wine, beer, alcohol. Can I have a drink? When it hits one of these phrases, it's going to actually enter into the bot interface. Now, the bot interface is pretty cool because it is designed to allow us to actually see how this flow works. So, and all of this is built with no code. So you can see, as soon as I type in one of these trigger phases, it comes down and says, hello, I'm the bartender bot. And it says, I can only serve you for 21 years of age. And it asks, how old are you? And then, this is kind of neat, it actually will pull out age. So if I were to type in there and say, well, I'm older than a Bob's uncle or something like that, right? It's gonna realize that's not a correct response and continue going back until I get a number. Now I just typed in numbers and that's perfectly fine. I restore that in a variable and I say if I'm over 21, that's when I go down here and start asking 3 questions. What is your name? What is your quest? What is the airspeed, velocity, and unladen swallow? And at that point, I'm actually passing this off to a Power Automate. Now, this was just mostly for a demo purposes, right? But that's the questions 3. And when it gets its response back, okay, if my response is true, it's going to say, welcome to Bot-A-Lot. And actually, that was my problem. I should have made that, instead of true, I should have made that false, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and save that now. And as soon as it's saved, I'll republish it, and then we'll try it again. Because that was my problem. What happened was I gave the right response, but because I had my Boolean condition wrong, it flipped it to the wrong side. So let me go over here, and I'm going to republish this bot, and you can see how easy this is. I actually have channels configured. One of the channels that I have configured for my bot is a demo website. I also have it loaded into some Microsoft Teams as well. So once it's been published, I can go back over here, I can refresh this site, and it's going to go ahead and show me the new bot. I actually don't really have to do the refresh, but I'm going to come down here and say, just drink. That's one of my keywords, right? And it's going to say, how old are you? I'm going to say, I'm 51 again. Well, what is my name? I am Sir David. What is my quest? The Holy Grail. Oops. Okay. What is the airspeed, velocity, and unladen swallow? Would that be an African or a European swallow? Whoops. Because that is, of course, the right answer at this point in time, right? And it kicks it out there and says, oh, I still have a bug someplace. Did I misspell European? I did, didn't I? See, now I've got to go back and do it again. Oops. There we go. All right, we'll try one more time. See, I am Sir David. I seek the Holy Grail. And would that be an African or a European swallow? There we go. Hopefully that'll work this time. Oh, I must be making some other mistake here. Well, one thing is I can check on this is the actual flow that I created, okay? The flow that I'm calling has a trigger of a Power Virtual Agent. It initializes a variable, okay? This variable is called var catapult, because I'm going to catapult you or not, and I set it to false. So, in other words, what I'm saying here is that I'm not going, oh, Yep, I see what I did wrong here now. See, what I should have done is I should have said, see, now I've flipped all of this around, okay? Because what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the word African and the word European. If I see both of those words in there, really that's all I have to type. European, African, African, European. I'm not really parsing out the entire thing. I just need to have those two words inside of there. And if that's the case, then I'm setting this to true. So in reality, I really want this one to be deleted. I don't need this one over here. What I want to do instead is I want to go over to this one, and I want to go ahead and set this. See, this is why you always have to test. I came up with this idea just a few minutes before we went into I went live, so I had to go out and do it. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to set var catapult, and I'm going to set it to be an expression over here, and that expression is going to be true. So now what I've done is I've gone ahead and said, if they don't say African or European, right, if they don't answer this correctly, then I'm going to catapult them off the place. So I'll go ahead and save this. And now when I go back over here, I probably can get this to work better. I'm going to go ahead and say drink. It's going to say, how old are you? I'm going to say 21. It's going to say, what is my name? I'm going to say David. What is my crest? Grail. Get this to work right. What is the airspeed velocity? I'm just going to put African and European, right? And if I've got that correctly, see, I'm still getting something wrong. So how can I test that? I'm still making mistakes here, right? One of the nice things I can do is there's actually a testing interface inside of here. I can test this bot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm tracking between topics, okay? And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say drink. Now what it's going to do is it's going to pull up the bartender bot, okay? And as I go ahead and make this go away, come on. There we go. You can actually see it's picked up my trigger phase. It's come down to this point. It says, how old are you? I'm going to say 21. It's going to follow through this implication, okay? It says, before you must enter, what is your name? I'm going to say, Sir David, okay? It's going to say, what is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail, okay? And Holt Grail, not the Holy Grail, right? And now, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And I would say African, African or European. Okay? Now, what happens here? It's kicking off my Power Automate, okay? And it then kicked me out because it still told me that I had this wrong. Now, if I go back over to my flow, I can actually look at the run history of what came up here, and I can find out what day it went down or what side it went down. So you can see here's my most recent implementation, and I can say, hey, how did this go? Well, it set my variable to be for var catapult to be true, and then I passed back the value into the object catapult, and I set it to be true. Now what that means is, if I turn this off, okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the entity that I was using, not entity, sorry, the topic that I was using, so I can stay inside the virtual bot tender, okay? So now if I say, well, first off, let me turn this on, and I'm going to say drink, okay? That's going to take me to the virtual bot tender. Should show me over here what's going on. Oh, let me do a reset. That's easier. Okay, and go to the author and canvas. Fun, live demos are always fun, aren't they? All right, so here is my stuff. I'm going to say, give me a drink. Okay, and I'm going to turn this off now so I don't actually leave. I want to see what happens inside of this. I'm going to say 21. Okay, I'm going to say David. I'm going to say Grail. And I'm going to say African or European. Oops. Okay, now it goes out and runs this, okay, and what I got back was the value of this particular thing. So down here it said, did I get that Boolean that I got returned back to me, right? Evidently it came back and it's set to true, right? And I can actually look at my variable tracker here. So catapult is actually equal to false. So what I got back from my flow was false. So if I go back and take a look at my most recent return, okay, which is right here at 450, if I go back and look at what it actually returned to me, it actually returned false, okay? So if I look at the things that I got in, I got my name, I got David, Grail, and African or European. When it came down here to my condition, right, it said the result of this, the expression result was true, and it sent me down the no branch. No, it sent me down the yes branch. So that means that I set false as my appropriate return, meaning I'm not going to catapult you off. I got that back. Now, if I go back over here to my Power Virtual Agent now, what I really want to do at this point in time with a false variable, right, is so what is weird about this is this Boolean catapult was equal to false, so why did I go down the wrong path, right? Darn good question. Don't know the answer to it. Have to figure that one out. It must be something about this Boolean that I've returned back, and it doesn't seem to like the fact that it is set to false. Don't know what's going on with that. That's kind of crazy. So I can go ahead and get out of my bot testing if I want to, okay? And I can go look at this topic again and try to figure out what the heck is going on. Okay, and look at my bot tender. Not sure exactly why it's kicking me out, but unfortunately it's kicking me out at this point in time. So you don't get a chance to see the really cool aspects of how this works. Uh-oh. There we go. Reconnecting my live video. Saw that I had a little blip there. So if I come down through here and see all of this, I'm not sure why when I get my flow back, this is actually false, and yet it's going this way instead of coming down this way. So to fix this, I'm just going to go down here. Oh, let's see. What are you doing here? Oh, there we go. I'm going to reset. That'll turn off all of the debugging, and it's kind of slow right now because I'm streaming this video. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here and say I want to, instead of redirecting to my confirmed failure down here, which was saying that I failed, right? I'm going to go ahead and kill this one, and I'll just go ahead and add in another one that's going to send it to the same place. And so what I'm going to do here is, okay. Boy, this thing is just being crazy on me. Oh, and actually I had a better way of doing this. And I'll show you one of the cool ways I can do here. I'm going to add a message in, okay? And then I'm going to take this direction and I'm going to redirect it up to here, okay? And now what happens is, as these respond back, no matter what I do, I'm going to either hurl to the air and say E, then it's going to say welcome to Bottle-Lot and redirect me to the catapult, the thing there. But I have this message floating around here I have to go ahead and delete. So I will go ahead and delete this. Then we will save. I'm going to save my dialog. And then, now that I'm finished, I will go ahead and publish this. And we can do one more test. Either way, I'll be able to get to the places I want to see, which for my purposes was giving you guys a chance to actually see what happens when you get to the ordering of an alcoholic drink. Ugh. Come on. Boy, this thing is just being super slow right now. Luckily, it's really fast publishing back over there. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh my actual bot screen over here. And I'm going to come down here and say drink. It's going to say, how old are you? I'm going to say 21. It's going to say, answer my name. What's my name is David. I seek the Grail. And, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter because this is going to be, it's not going to do it either way. And it says, as you hurtle through the air, you scream, IE, welcome David to Bottle-Lot. What type of drink would you like to have? And you know what? I'm going to say I want to get a mixed drink because you know what? After all of this, I need a mixed drink. In fact, I think I want a martini. and it says, well, it is virtually shaken as opposed to virtually stirred. And now I can say, how good was my experience? Well, I'm going to say it was fair because I had to do a lot of work resetting this thing. So at any rate, this is a quick overview of how bots work and how they interface with Microsoft Flow as well. Sorry for the demo problems there, but it was kind of cool nonetheless. Hopefully this will work out pretty neat and it'll make for a pretty decent video that I can post up onto our channel. I don't know how this will work so much on SoundCloud on our audio podcast. I may have to come up with something a little bit different there. We'll see. May have to just point you guys to the YouTube video instead. So that leads us to really the end of this episode. And so I usually come back and talk about, what is our one last thing that we've had going on inside of our lives. And, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'll have to admit, with all of this time that I've been spending at home instead of being out there with my kids, this has been a pretty tough time for a lot of people. So, what I'm hoping happens now as we go forward is that this is all going to start coming to an end. But what I have been doing is spending an awful lot of time catching up on some television shows, right? So my wife and I watched A Million Little Things, which is not as good as This Is Us, but still a pretty good show. We just finished watching the first 2 seasons of that, and we actually just started watching the show Waco last night, which is on Netflix. And boy, I tell you, it has got a really good cast inside of it. Michael Shannon is very good. Taylor Kitsch, who is playing David Koresh, is excellent. It's got Melissa Benoist in it, who's playing his wife. Rory Culkin, which is Macaulay Culkin's even younger brother. But just a lot of people inside of there that you recognize, and they are really doing an excellent job with this particular episode. Or this particular show. So I recommend and I remember we were living in Dallas when that happened. It was the day after the Blind Shake bombing attempt on the Twin Towers. The next day, actually, I remember turning on the news. I wanted to find out what was going on in New York City, and instead I saw pictures of this building out in the middle of nowhere, and it turns out we were in for a 50-day siege out there that ended, of course, so tragically. But I would really recommend watching it. It was a really very good show that we're watching so far on Netflix. Other than that, I want to thank you once again for listening to There Ain't No Such Thing as a Free Brian. Hopefully, maybe next week he'll be free. If not, we'll be back in 2 weeks to go ahead and do this again. And we'll do episode 16. You can always go out and join us on Facebook at The Cloud Whisperers. Follow us on Twitter at The Cloud Whisperers. Listen to us on SoundCloud at Cloud Whisperers, right? You can email us at cloudwhisperers@outlook.com. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't forget about the fact that we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Apps, and of course, obviously SoundCloud, which is our starting point. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.